Welcome back to my studio in New York, and I am Kimberly Trapani, the producer with All Consuming Filming. And we are working on our film projects and TV pilot series and working in upstate New York with in collaboration to help people together, not just in New York, but in America. And I am super blessed today to have an award winning artist that is featured in a music video and holds a master's degree from Full Sail University. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce my guest that I am blessed to know and have known for years, Jeremy Newton. Welcome, Jeremy.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited for this.
Yes, me too. And in getting to work with you at Full Sail in a master's degree graduate level program, I've had the opportunity to get to know you over the years. And delving into your video, I remember how excited you were at the time when your project launched to the world, and we'll get into that. And I'm going to let you tell me in your own words about your projects in this segment, and we can give due diligence and credits to whomever we want during this. It's real cool. This is raw, uncut. You can use whatever language you need to describe your projects. We're real cool here. Let's get started. And how's your day going so far, Jeremy?
It's great. It's a beautiful day in North Carolina. It's getting up to nearly 70 degrees, so it's a little bit warmer than it is back home in Rochester. So I'm enjoying the sunshine.
I gotta tell you, I'm a little bit jealous because I'm in freezing New York, and we are cold here, and we have to appreciate the snow and the cold coming up in the season.
Oh yeah, it might be a rough one, but I might miss some of that. This is my first year away from New York, so we won't get any snow down here. So not gonna lie, I might miss that. Won't miss the cold, but I'll miss the snow.
I was so excited when I was in North Carolina. It's a lovely area. I have relatives there, and everyone was saying, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, please, and thank you. It was that Southern gentleman culture.
Yeah,
How are you
absolutely.
enjoying your location right now?
It's great. It's a little different from what I'm used to, coming from Rochester with a population of about 225,000, and now I'm in a smaller town with about 8,000 people. So it's a little different for me, but I mean the area is nice. I'm about an hour away from any major city out here, Raleigh, Greensboro, about an hour and a half away from Fayetteville. So I got a lot of big cities that's close by, but where I'm at is pretty small. But it's a bit of a culture shock, but I'm enjoying it. It's good for the mind, it's good for the soul, and just taking it a day at a time.
Well, say hi to my relatives in Charlotte and let them buy you a cup of coffee. It's a nice town down there, and everyone was
Absolutely.
very welcoming when I went myself.
They are. They really are.
Can you tell me a little bit about your background, Jeremy, and about yourself?
Yeah. I originally started making music when I was about 12 years old. I started performing when I was 14, and I really enjoyed it. I found out I could go to school for music. So when I graduated high school, I ended up going to FLCC, which is Finger Lakes Community College, a school up in Canandaigua near Rochester. And I went there for my associates in music engineering, but I really wasn't digging it. So I ended up dropping out of that. And 2 years after dropping out, I ended up finding Full Sail, and that's where I went for my bachelor's degree in music business. And I ended up going back for my master's in entertainment business. Obviously, as you know, that's where we met. And from then on, I mean, before I graduated, I ended up starting an entertainment company called Legendary Music Entertainment. It was around 2014, I believe, I started that. And I've just been working as an artist ever since then. a manager helping out other artists in our neighborhood. I've had the joys and the blessings of opening up for quite a few major artists, including Joe Buttons, Joel Ortiz, R.A. the Rugged Man, legendary acts such as Mobb Deep, M.O.P., King Los. I've worked alongside DNA, which is, one of the top battle rappers in the world. And yeah, so I got a little expertise and experience. I've been doing this for quite some time now. I used to go for most of my career. I went by the name Playboy the Beast. And within the past couple of years, I recently changed that to Picasso. And that name change was to represent my growth and development, not just as an artist, but as a man in general. But as an artist, I'm not going through the same experiences that I was back then, and I wasn't making music about the same thing. So I wanted to show that growth and development in my artist craft. So that's where the name change comes from.
Wow, I didn't realize when I asked you to come on board and be my guest that I would be so super amazed by the talent that you have worked with. And this is amazing that you've been in videos with international artists. What was it like to work with them and what did you learn?
Honestly, like when I first, booked a couple of these features and when I got booked for these shows, I was a little nervous because I didn't know what to expect. You always hear about, these celebrities and how, they could be, needless to say, dicks or just on another planet and think of themselves as higher ups. But I mean, the artists that I've had a chance to work with, I mean, they were amazing. Mickey Fax, I met him when he came to Rochester and performed, and I ended up linking back up with him through social media. And he was completely down to earth. He remembered me from the show, so that's why we were able to link in that record. DNA, he was super cool. I mean, after we did the record, he put the song on his mixtape, All Features Volume 4. And we went and shot a video in New York City. And when we went and shot that video in Kingston, he ended up, after the video, everything was done. We started hooping. He called us over to play basketball. He was real down to earth. Um, Joe Buttons, yeah, that was a little different story. Joel Ortiz, he's real cool, but for the main part, R.A. the Rugged Man too. I definitely had to shout out R.A. the Rugged Man. I felt like he was one of the only artists to really dig deep into the people that were a part of his show and the people that were opening up for him. He seemed like he genuinely cared, and when I approached him, he's like, he already knew who I was. Like, I looked into you, this and that. So it was a great experience, and I really enjoyed every aspect of it.
Can you tell me about your artistic career and if how you were successful working in collaboration with other artists?
Yeah, it's one thing. That's a major part of the entertainment industry is being able to network. Sometimes your network, you're not gonna lie, but that's the way the industry is. Sometimes your network is more important than your talent. It's not what you know, it's who you know. So being able to open up and work with different types of people, that's always a good thing, and that's always what helped me branch out as an artist and not just opening up and working with artists that are exclusive to my style and my personality, but it's also important to open up to other people that have a different mindset, a different genre, people that come from a different place that I do, because in that aspect they bring a different mindset to they may think of something that I possibly would have never thought about because we come from two different places. So working with different people and different types of people is extremely important as not just an artist, but anybody in the entertainment industry, whether it's film, whether you're into promoting, producing. It's very important to network and get your name out there. And every show that I did, that was one of my main things. I would look at these other artists and these bigger artists artists that had a bigger following than me, and I would just study their shows, and I would study how they move and how they interact with the crowd, and how they get them to jump around during certain points, and to just tell a story when they're on stage. It's not just about performing; it's about telling a story. And each artist is different, so you could definitely learn from everybody. So that's big, real important to make sure you're open-minded and learn from everybody around you, whether big or small.
It's amazing that there's talent and there's two Full Sail people in the same podcast. And a lot of people don't understand what goes into writing a song and developing a story behind a song. Can you walk me through the process a little bit about how you launch a project, whether it's a song or an event, and how someone who is starting out in the business would go about launching their career in the business, since you and I have done it for a little bit of time and have worked with international artists?
Yeah, honestly, strategy is everything. So everything that you do should serve a bigger purpose. If you're gonna drop a single, there should be a game plan behind that to push a bigger project. If you're gonna accept a show to perform, that should be used as a marketing tool to push, whether it's pushing new merchandise or a future project. Everything has to be strategically placed. Don't just, jump on something just to get your name out there. It has to fit your brand. It has to fit your image, and it has to, just serve an overall bigger game plan. And that's one things that I try to prioritize on. I've had a lot of shows where, I was open or offered the opportunity to do certain shows, and it didn't fit what I was trying to do at the time. Don't get me wrong, it would have been a great experience, but it didn't exactly fit what I was trying to do at the time. So I ended up turning down a lot of things, and that's okay. It's okay to turn down stuff, but just make sure that whatever you're doing, you have a strategic game plan that's going to set you up for a bigger purpose. If you're going to do a single, and that's the way, honestly, that's the way the industry is going right now. Not a lot of people are dropping albums. A lot of people are doing singles, and that's fine. And you just got to make sure that you have that purpose and you have that bigger game plan, and make sure you write it out. Write out a game plan, a business plan that could serve as your Bible as an artist, where anytime you have questions or anytime you want to do take place in any type of event, it's going to have to serve that purpose for a broader perspective.
You tell me, when I saw the name, and pardon the way I say this, I'm not really good at pronunciation for new things. That's a weakness of mine. But how did you develop the name Spicasso, and how do you say it?
It's Picasso. Um, Picasso, the actual artist. He's one of my favorite artists. So I took his name from that. And then as when you're rapping, another term for rapping, in the hip hop industry, we always say, somebody spitting. So that's where the two names come from. Picasso, it's spitting, and Picasso. I combine them because the way I see myself now, I don't really consider myself as a rapper anymore. I like to look at myself as an artist that uses hip hop as my canvas to paint a picture in the minds of my listeners. So it's a lot. It's deeper than just being a rapper. It's more being an artist in the music industry, and that's why I adapted Picasso's name into my name.
And I found that interesting. And what was the story behind the song? Can you tell me a little bit about the song that we're featuring on our video today, and how you developed it and worked with a team and international artists?
Yeah, the song Titans. It's funny how that came about because DNA, he actually reached out to me, which was a change because I'm used to being the one, I felt like, I was a smaller artist. So I'm constantly trying to, network with these bigger artists. And then I got a message from DNA, and I thought it was fake at first. But he actually worked with a friend of mine and another artist in Rochester, my boy Young Sleep. So I definitely got to give a shout out to Young Sleep, because that record wouldn't have came into play with him. But when DNA was looking to work with new artists, Young Sleep threw in my name. So DNA ended up linking with me and said he wanted to work with me. And at that time, I wasn't completely active. I was still active, but not as much as I wanted to be. So I wanted to kind of bring on somebody else, a younger artist that I felt would, put into work, and was putting into work. And that's where I linked up with Baby C. And I told Baby C what I was working on, and, he was 100% down for it. So I ended up getting the beat from Dub Beats in Rochester. So shout out to Dub Beats. I got the beat from him. I shot the record over the instrumental over to DNA, and like the next day he already sent me the verse, and I had a verse written out already. But when I got DNA's verse, I was like, oh man, I got to throw this out. I got to do better. So yeah, that's it. So he forced me to step my game up, and I ended up putting the verse together. We ended up recording the verse. Me and Baby C recorded the verse in Dub Beat Studio. And then we sent it over to DNA. He loved it, wanted to put it on his mixtape, All Features Volume 4, which is still out there on pretty much every mixtape platform you could think of. And hey, once we put it out there, DNA contacted me again and was like, yo, let's shoot a video. So we were 100% down for that. And we went and got 20 grand, which is a videographer from Rochester. And we all went down to Kingston and we shot the video in a basketball park. And, we put that together, and 20 grand was the videographer on that. And he really slayed the video. And after that, I mean, we put it out, and like 6 months after we put it out, we were nominated for the 2019 Video of the Year award at the Rock Awards in Rochester. So that was a pretty dope experience.
That is an exciting experience. And I was talking to Gary Jones, the president of our college at Full Sail, and he said that I would, to get started in music, he would take his guitar. So I have this little guitar here. Um, and just wondering if you'll jam with me a little bit. If you could just tell me, do a little bit of hip hop and why I string my guitar, and just do a couple of words, just a live performance right now.
Okay, so yeah. Microphone splitting every time the goat spitting. I'm in the zone, killing every verb and now written. I'm in the cold kitchen, twisting up the stove switches on my own mission, on to get it with my own vision. I get the spaz and get it cracking, catch a rapper slacking, then start attacking with gadgets that'll make Batman panic. My heart's attacking, lungs close to collapsing. Fuck it, I'm an act, and action's my main attraction. They talking money and getting bread like they run to town, but they couldn't spend a penny, why they're just a clown. And if my words end up coming back like boomerangs, they already put the nooses out, just let them hang. It's a little bit right there.
And a lot of people think that hip hop does has to be a creative art. Why would you choose hip hop over a different genre? Not that one is better than the other, but why did you choose the genre hip hop?
I don't feel like, honestly, I don't feel like I chose hip hop. I feel like, hip hop, it's not just a genre of music, it's a culture. It's not something that I chose. It's something that I am. It's where I come from. It's who I am. It's not just the music, it's the clothing, and the styles, and everything, the way we talk, and just everything along those lines. Like I said, it's not something that I could just choose to be something that, don't get me wrong, a lot of people do. They do choose to, adapt into that lifestyle. But for a lot of us, it's not something that we choose. It's something that, it's something that we are. It's we tell stories about, where we come from and certain aspects of life that we go through. And to me, that's what hip hop is. It's a culture. It's who we are.
And that's interesting point of how you bring that up. And I'm wondering, you produce your own music. Do you write your own music?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I don't have anything wrong with a ghostwriter, as I understand how the industry is. Sometimes there's a lot of artists that they're really dope at writing music, but they just don't really have that image to hit the mainstream. And then there's other people that they have that image, they have that personality, but they don't really have the talents to come out and write a dope song. So a lot of people will use ghostwriters, and me personally, I have nothing against that, but that's not something that I've ever partaken in. I've never had a ghostwriter. I write everything. All of my songs all comes from me.
Can you tell me, and we'll get into this a little bit later, as you know, when we were going to Full Sail, I was filmmaking and you were writing music, and we worked on projects together. And I entered a program with my losing my sister during the program, and it was very traumatic for me. So I find that we relate to our art through pain and trauma. Can you tell me about a time where you had to develop a song idea based upon your own trauma or an experience of a friend that experienced a traumatic event?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there's a lot of songs where pretty much all my songs, they come from a certain place. I wouldn't necessarily say all of them come from trauma and pain, but all of my songs tell a story about certain experiences I've been through. So, there's gonna be some joy, there's gonna be some partying, there's gonna be some violence, and there's gonna be things that it's kind of hard to talk about. Well, one song in particular is, this song called "Devil on My Back" that I came out with, and that's it was different, especially at that time, because I came out with the song. It was pretty much like my conversation with God, and like, if you exist, why do you put, people through certain experiences that bring drama and pain? You're supposed to be here to uplift people, and I feel like that's something that everybody feels. At times they start to question the higher power if they believe in it. Why would you experience, or why would you put me through certain types of experiences that could have broke me? And that's kind of what that song was about. My conversation with God, why are you putting me through these experiences and stuff like that? I have another song that was actually used for short film Destination, and that song's called Bad Habits, and that song's about heavy addiction. And I think at one point or another, everybody has either dealt with addiction or dealt with somebody that's gone through addiction. So that is a heavy relatable song that I think a lot of people that would be able to feel. And it has a deep message, and um not necessarily like, pain, but just to show you that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and you can't escape that tragedy or whatever else you're going through. A lot of my songs, though, they come from places of violence or poverty, but that's where a lot of artists in hip hop, that's where we come from. So that's what a lot of what the music's based off of.
Yes, and I understand that. And I try to remain professional, but as you and I work together, and I related to your songs because my sister was a New York State attorney, ministered to the bar, and she got addicted to pain pills and overdosed and died. So that drew me to you, not just because we worked so well together at Full Sail collaborating on projects, but I was working in New York State on Heroin, the movie at the time, and I really was drawn to your storytelling because it's centered around the drug epidemic and confronting the overdose crisis in New York and moving on to try to work with legislators in New York State to encourage life and recovery. And I dug into my soul and had every ounce of motivation to finish my project at the time when I had to bury my sister during our program. But I loved your music because it so portrayed something you could tell on behalf of me, an audience, when I didn't feel so comfortable talking about it because I was struggling with the pain of losing a sister. Can you tell me a little bit about how you life behind bars and how may you speak to your audience, who your audience is, and how you're reaching them?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I just want to send my condolences. I heard about your story with your sister, and I'm sorry about that. But as far as life behind bars, me personally, I've never been to jail, never been to prison, so that's not what the album was about. Life behind bars was about me explaining my life behind music and behind the bars that we spit as an artist. So that's where that came from. And I just try to relate to a lot of the people because I know in my community and not just my community, but a lot of communities that are like it, there's a lot of people that go through experiences that I've been through, but they don't have that voice to speak out. And a lot of people they'll look at the way um, as a rapper, as an artist in the hip hop industry, will make music and they don't necessarily condone it and they'll look down upon it like, like we're glorifying violence or drug sales and stuff like that. And that's not the case. Like I was saying before, our music is inspired by events and past traumas and everything that we have gone through with life experiences in our life. So it's like, the way I feel, if you don't like the music that we're putting out, don't try to stop the music, stop the uh, instances that are creating that type of music. So um, hip hop is heavily based off of real life stuff, real life stories. So when I tell this, that's why I like to be as real as possible. Because when I tell these stories through music, I know people in my community and a lot of people around the world they can relate to that. So that's what I try to do. And like even if I've never experienced something personally, or if I've dipped and dabbed in it a little bit, I'll still try to get into that mindset so I can make something that you're heavily relatable to, like that song "Bad Habits" I was talking about. I've actually interviewed people, friends, and stuff like that were actually heavily into addiction and certain types of drugs, and I wanted to get into their mindset and I was thankful for that opportunity where they allowed me to break into their mindset. But that's the whole point of or the whole reason behind what I do. I like to be the voice for those that feel they don't have a voice to speak up.
And there's a lot of shame and guilt and emotions in real life experiences, if you will. And who would you say you're speaking to, and what story are you telling right now with your music?
I speak to everybody that feels like they have something to say, but they don't have that outlet to get it out there. If you listen to my music is a factor of me being a Rochester kid, and that's what my music is all about. It's about what it's like growing up in Rochester. I'm a prime example of, and there's a lot of artists that are like that, but I'm a prime example of Rochester. I am Rochester. Rochester is me. That's my city. It's what made me, and everything that I put into my music. It comes from Rochester. So my music is all about what it's like growing up there, what it's like living there, and experiences that you will go through if you ever did live there.
And what did you do in Rochester? What kind of hobbies did you have that you might not necessarily be able to do in North Carolina other than music?
In Rochester, music was, pretty much it took up about 90% of my life. Other than that, I was just being a good husband to my wife, a good father to my two kids. I like playing sports. I was coaching baseball with my son. Heavily into mixed martial arts like jujitsu and stuff like that. But one thing a lot of people that won't get from my music about me is how big I am into comic books and superheroes and stuff like that. So you'll hear a lot of my music. Might have that you know that gangster sounding or music full of violence and drugs, but then you'll get to know me and then you'll see a whole nother side of me that's that nerd all into comic books and superheroes and jujitsu, stuff like that. So there's a lot that I like to be involved in and just being around in North Carolina. I haven't really gotten into it yet. We just moved out here about a month ago. We're just now settling in and pretty much getting into the swing of things. But I think January is going to be the month where we kind of break out and start getting back to stuff that me, my wife, and my son and my daughter were all into back in Rochester. But just doing it out here, looking for a new MMA school for my kids and stuff like that.
And us creative people who have mixed and mingled with the past government administration and the president of the United States, and I've had Congress in my audience before, and have learned that arts and entertainment has to be part of the equation. And without going into names of who, some of the members of the government think art is very therapeutic. Would you say music is very therapeutic for you, or is it more of a professional career for you?
I'm so sorry. Volume cut out for a minute. Could you repeat that, the question?
Would you say, with members of the government thinking art is a very therapeutic outlet for them, would you
Oh,
say art is
absolutely.
professional or therapy for you?
It's honestly it's a mixture of both. For me personally, it's a mixture of both. Art can be therapeutic for anybody. You don't have to do it as a profession, and a lot of people don't do it for a profession. They just do it because that's how, that's what makes them feel better. And for years, that's how I did it, and it was very therapeutic for me, and it still is. But that's just how we feel. If we can't, a lot of people don't know how to express themselves through words or through talking to somebody. But if you were to put on an instrumental and an artist gets to writing, they'll write 4 or 5 different songs about topics that bother them, and that's just their way of getting through that. And not just art as in music, but film, a lot of stuff like that. Art is drawing, painting, whatever you do, sculpting. A lot of people get through the pain and whatever life throws at them through art. Me personally, I took that therapeutic feeling and I took it into a professional category. Like now I try to do it. I want to make a living out of it, make money off of it, because that's my thing. Why not do something for a living that makes you happy? Everybody wants to chase money, but I mean, if you could chase what makes you happy and make money while you're doing it, why not? So that's kind of the route that I took. It was definitely therapeutic for me, and around the college time, when I realized that I could go to college for music, that's when I made that transition into, okay, just doing it for fun, into, doing it as a career.
It's funny, I got you a gift. I'll have to send it to you, and without disclosing what your actual address is, we'll have to get it offline. But I got you a candy bar, and I'll just zoom in. It's it's got a money
Oh,
sign
that's
on it.
really,
That's for
oh,
you.
okay.
That's your gift today, and I'll get it to you. I'll send it
Awesome.
down to you. However, can you tell me about what projects you're working on right now and who you're working with?
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, I kind of took a step back as, the artist that's out there performing and doing stuff like that. I'm still writing, still creating music, but now I'm working on shopping and around to try to get placement in video games and films and stuff along that nature. And I'm also recently linked back up with my roommate from my first college in FLCC. My boy, Jive now goes by the name El Karma. He started a company, IU Karma LLC, and he's an artist from the Dominican Republic who just moved back here, and now he's around the Miami area. And I'm working with him and his company on getting artists out there. And we got a couple projects right now. We got one that's we're working on with um, this guy always that you're familiar with.
Always,
He's
yes.
dropping a car project, a NASCAR project. That should be coming out a
Yes,
little bit
take
later
it to
this
the
month.
NASCAR. He's very talented. I am not
Yeah,
partial,
yeah,
but yes, take it to the NASCAR. And he did that Bunchy Young Super Bowl commercial or managed it or something. That project's
yeah,
very
yeah.
exciting. Uh, can you tell me about Karma? Is he a music distributor? Does he sell CDs or in today's world stream online to the world? Can you tell me a little bit about that? Because I'm all about bringing back the vinyl records.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Karma, he's not just an artist, he's not just one thing in general. He's an artist, he's a producer, songwriter, he's an entrepreneur, he's a businessman. And that's one of the reasons why he came up with IU Karma and reached out to me. So he right now he's working on an album, but he just released a single called Oh My God, which is out there on every streaming site right now. So you can check it out, go to Spotify, look up El Karma. Oh my God, it's a great
OMG,
song.
wow.
Yeah, and it is. It's a really great song. But right now he's pushing that while he's writing his album, putting his album together. But at the same time, working with other artists. And yeah, we got another artist that he's working with down in the Miami area that's looking to drop some projects in January. So the new year, it's going to be a big year for us. I feel like January. Once that comes around, 2022, it's going to be a big year for, not just myself, but for Karma and the whole IU Karma LLC and everybody incorporated with us. So yeah, we got a few projects that's on the way.
I love the name Karma, and I think about good and bad karma all the time. Can you tell me
Hmm.
about your who taught you music and how to hip hop? Was it self taught or did you learn from someone?
Nobody really like sat me down and like really taught me how to build a song or how to do, certain things. But nothing is ever really self-taught like that. Um, I learned a lot of what I do based off of certain artists that I grew up listening to, and certain artists that I idolize and not necessarily want to place my career after, but I learned what worked for them, what didn't work for them, and I tried to grow and adapt from that. A couple artists in general, me being from New York, Rochester, one of my biggest artists listening to was Jadakiss and D Block and 50 Cent. The way he started from the bottom and it really came up as an artist, and now he became a music mogul involved in many different aspects as far as entertainment. He's got television, clothing line, alcohol with his liquor, and it's like he branched out and really became a mogul in this industry. So I learned a lot of my craft off of artists like that, certain artists that I idolize.
What artist most inspires you before or now?
Definitely, yeah, definitely throughout my entire career, it's always been 50. And when I tell people that, they'll look at me like, really 50? There's so many better, lyricists, and there's so many better. It's like, that's true. And even 50 knows that he may not be the greatest rapper, but he knows how to interact with his fans, and it's the passion that he shows in his music. And I feel the same thing with Pac. Tupac wasn't necessarily one of, the greatest lyricists out there, but he made some of the best music because of the passion that he brought to the table. So, 50 Cent, I think, would be, my biggest influence. We come from kind of the same area, and just seeing the way he grew and developed into the mogul and have that status that he's able to achieve. I think that's one of the things that I highly look up to.
It's funny because people don't think people that can come from New York, you being from Rochester, me being from a little town called Cohoes, can really they they can't really take us seriously. But it's funny when we worked at Full Sail how we met people from the NFL and things, and I ordered. I definitely wanted Snoop. I wanted Eminem, but they gave me uh, the halftime show. Every wish that I had, I wanted Dre. Obviously, friends of friends work with Dre, but we got Dre, Snoop, Eminem, and then the frosting on the cake. I got everything I wanted there on behalf of somebody that really adored the Eminem side of things, who was an addict struggling. It wasn't for me, but it was for people that I've talked to in my own hometown. But they gave us Dre, Eminem, Snoop, and Mary J. Blige for frosting on the cake for the halftime show. So little people like you and I that come out of Full Sail University with 13 Oscars and things, there's a reason why they listen to us. So I'm going to ask you now, what advice would you have for your audience in general in 2021? In general, in life, what advice would you give your audience?
Just keep pushing. I mean, I know times can be hard. It always is. Life isn't always easy, but it's them situations that make us. Don't let them break us. Especially now with everything COVID going on and it causing a lot of mental health issues with a lot of people. It is hard. But you just got to keep pushing, no matter what you're going through. Just keep pushing. Be strategic with whatever it is you're doing, whether you're an artist or whether you want to get into baking or you want to be in the construction industry. Whatever your goals and your dreams are, just be very strategic on in how to do it, and don't look at the grand scheme of things, because that way things can kind of get depressing. When you're looking at the main goal of, oh, I want to sell 1,000,000 records, and when you sell 1,000, it may seem like heartbreaking because you're so far away. But just take a look back at and focus on the small steps. The small steps are what get us to the end game, to the big goal. So don't overlook the small steps, and when you feel like that, look back, and when you feel like quitting or giving up, just remember why you started it, and just remember what you're doing everything for.
And that's really a good point, because there's characteristics like persistence in the entertainment business, but we're finding today it's in every business. Rejection is the 2021, the new thing in 2021 in every industry, and people have to learn their own niche. And we can't take it personally in any industry these days, because something else may be going on with someone. Like, I had to hop out of my sister's funeral and go on a Full Sail University conference call at the time and pretend like nothing happened. What would you say in your storytelling? What would you say are three characteristics that are key for an artist just starting out to write a song?
Three characteristics is, be true to yourself. You definitely want to be true to yourself. You don't want to, be somebody you're not, because it may work for you for a little bit, but it'll come back to haunt you. So, be true to yourself and make music that comes from the heart. Definitely you want to be persistent. One of my favorite quotes is, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. Nobody wants to be turned down. Nobody, likes to be turned down and face that rejection. But, it's a part of the industry, and it's not just a part of the industry, it's a part of life. No matter what you're involved in, you're gonna face that rejections, but you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So don't be afraid to get out there and take that risk. And that's the third one. Be that risk taker. You have to. You gotta be. You can't be afraid to take that shot. A lot of people, they may be afraid to take that new job, or they may be afraid of investing their funds into this big project. But with the you have to. I mean, if you're looking for that extra jump, that extra push, we're all nervous. Anytime I get invested into something, or anytime I make a move like that, it is terrifying making that jump. When I made the move from New York to North Carolina, it was terrifying because I've never lived outside of New York. So it was just, there's a bunch of things going through my mind. Is this the right decision for me, my wife, my kids? What's life going to be like that? But you're always going to have them doubts. But the key is to not focus on them doubts. You got to focus on the positivity and the good things that'll come, and just stay positive, because, they may not come as fast as you would like them to, but they will come. Persistency and hard work through them things, and being a big risk taker, you'll reach your goals. It'll take time, but you'll reach them.
Can you tell me about your master's degree in entertainment? I know we worked together in that, but going back to that, and it seems like so long ago because we've both done different things since. But what did you learn from your master's degree and working with all of us amateurs at the time?
Oh man, a lot. I mean, even then, I was an amateur, and when I first went to Full Sail, my one thing was, I wanted to go there just to learn how to learn the industry, and nail this better record contract. And I wanted to become a better artist. But when I went to Full Sail, it taught me about a bunch of different aspects from the music business, and that's one thing I've learned, where I've had a lot more fun and enjoyment in handling the business side of things in the hip hop industry, as opposed to being an artist. Like, when I first went there, that's all I wanted to do, was be an artist. But Full Sail, it opened my mind up to bigger things. And one thing that I always push onto other artists, and it kind of goes back to what I was saying about focus on the smaller steps. One thing that will always stick with me, lesson that I learned in Full Sail, was the art of 1,000 true fans. And 1,000 true fans, that's the theory of a true fan is somebody that will typically spend $100 a year on an artist, just because that's who they love. Um, they might not have a lot of promotion or marketing behind their project, but their true fans are going to spend $100 a year, whether it's performances or merchandise or music. They'll just buy into that because that's just who they love. And you got to think about it. If you're able to earn 1,000 true fans at $100 a year, that's $100,000 a year that you're making off of music. To me, that's a lot of money. That's a successful career. So, and that step right there will propel you into the million record sales and all that. But everybody wants that million record sales, but they'll focus on reaching 1,000 true fans first. And once you get that, that'll propel you into a higher step.
And that's a really good point. A lot of artists, that's how we make our money. What would you say in your own words about a filmmaker and a musician, how we make our money?
Me personally, it's definitely merchandise. Not a lot of people are out there purchasing music anymore like that, with all the streaming sites out there. Um, so definitely get out there and tour, do as many shows as you can, because them shows are what's going to bring people in. Them shows are what's going to get people to buy your merchandise, whether it's hats, shirts, um, liquor, whatever you indulge yourself into, and whatever you tie your name into. merchandising is a huge factor in how artists make their money nowadays, and kind of like the way I look at it is music in general is a marketing plan to make money off of shows and merchandise. So definitely, as an artist or any type of person in that industry, you definitely want to get into creating your own image and merchandise that sets yourself aside from any other artist.
For me, my Barbie doll name is Kimber. Someone labeled me that, and it would be, if I were a Barbie doll, it would be Kimber Jesus. What would your Barbie doll name be?
Oh man, I gotta go with Picasso. That's my name. Slap it on a doll, slap it on an action figure, slap it on a T-shirt, whatever you want. But Picasso, that's me. That's who I am.
And does Picasso have special powers?
I'd like to believe so. Yeah, I like to believe. He has the ability to uh draw in people and relate on a mental level and just feel welcome with everybody.
What was your favorite project at Full Sail when we went?
One of my favorite projects actually was we had to develop a new way to not necessarily promote but distribute music through the entertainment industry, something that hasn't really been heard of at that point. And when music was going the digital route, that's one thing I did was I took the project and I used August Alsina as an example and put his music on like USB flash drives. So no people were buying hard copies for anything like that anymore. So I put the music on USB flash drives, and you would still get the digital version of the music, but you would also have a hard copy that came along with it. And like on that USB flash drive, it would be artist branded, so everything went along with that artist. And on that flash drive, you would have unreleased music and unreleased behind the scenes videos and like I also put discount codes that would draw people in to the artist website and pretty much have them buy other merchandise that they wouldn't have thought of before because now they have this code that you could only get with that USB flash drive that you bought into.
I remember that project, and off topic, I have to ask you, you remember that financial project that most of the class failed? Did you pass that project?
Yes, I did. I haven't failed any project at Full Sail, so I was definitely blessed with that. Um,
I
but
bombed
yeah,
that. I'm still waiting for the answers. Can you give me the answers offline?
yeah, I'll have to send you something over.
It what? And I'll ask you what I asked the sound engineers in a private party at the Kimpton in Manhattan from the NFL. I asked the sound engineers from the NFL what their most embarrassing on air bleep was when they were on air with the NFL. What an NFL player said on air that they weren't supposed to say. What was your most embarrassing moment as an artist that you would like to put your foot in your mouth and do over?
Um, Honestly, like I do have the embarrassed moment I'm going to talk about. It was really embarrassing, but I wouldn't necessarily say I'd want to do it over because I'm glad that you asked this question because I get to share it with people. And, a lot of people look at artists and people in this industry like we're perfect, but we're not. Like I said, I've been doing this since I was probably 14. And I think I did a show in 2018, I believe, where, I was on stage and my mind was just racing and I ended up forgetting the words to my own song. And that could be extremely embarrassing, especially when you're on stage in front of hundreds of people. And, it was really embarrassing, to forget your own music. You're looked at as somebody that's supposed to, be perfect in the public's eye, but we're not. and it's okay to not be perfect. Just don't focus and don't struggle on them imperfections. Like you just gotta move on and continue to show because it happens to the best of us.
And it's funny you mentioned that because I've typed typos, and Chris Cuomo knows this, and not to bring him up or create a controversy, but it's fun to create controversy in this business. I told Chris Cuomo I've made apologized. I've had to make typos to Andrew Cuomo and the government when I was lobbying for addiction issues and asking for like millions of dollars for release for addiction. I made a typo to the governor. So, yes, we all make mistakes. We're not
Absolutely.
perfect. We answer to a higher power. For myself, it's Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. For you, it may be Buddha. We are not perfect. Is there something you can tell other artists about how to be humble in this business that may be an attractive trait for them?
Yeah, being humble is always important. Nobody likes somebody that's cocky and arrogant. But at the same time, in this industry, you gotta have that confidence and you gotta want the best, especially in the hip hop industry. Hip hop is a very competitive sport. So it's a very fine line in between being confident and being humble. But you definitely have to find a way, just get back to your roots. Remember where you came from. It's important to always grow and always develop and remove yourself from negative situations. But you always want to remember where you came from and what made you what you are today.
If you had to pick a profession other than music, what would it be?
I would definitely be a writer. Probably into comic books. If I could draw, I would definitely jump into the comic book industry or acting. I've always wanted to act, but right now I don't think I'm too good at it. So, but that's never too far out the way. Couple acting classes, whatever. Me personally, I'm one side a lot of people don't get from me from music is my music. I'll be very serious, but once you get to know me, I like to joke around a lot, especially with people that I'm comfortable being around. A lot of people call me a clown. I like to make people laugh. So, getting into acting or something along that aspect. So I would love to do something like that. And who knows, it may be in the future one day or another.
Done. I would love to make your dreams come true. Would you kindly be in my next film? And can we
Actually,
have a
I'm
maybe?
I'm I'm down for anything. All you gotta do is shoot me a message, shoot me an
You would
email, a call,
act,
whatever.
and we could possibly get you your music in that.
Oh, I would love to. I would love to come
Oh,
up with a score just for the film. That would be
you
dope as
just
hell. I would
made
love
my
that.
day, and I made your dreams come true.
Yeah, I think we'd work well together, and it'd be a nice throwback to the Full Sail days. So, we'll look at it as another Full Sail project.
Perfect. Awesome. You're in, Jeremy. I said that
All
on
right,
air. What
all right. We'll have
projects
to go
are
far.
you wanting to work on in the future, and how can we help you and take your career to the next level?
Like I was mentioning before, one thing that I like to get into was gaming and filming. I loved my whole life I've always been a big gamer, and being an artist and a hip hop artist, being able to combine the two, I think that would be amazing. Whether it be creating my own video game or voice acting in a video game or getting my music placed into a video game, I think that would be dope as hell, and that's something that I want to work towards. And I've got my music into short films. I'd like to continue that path and get more music into films and take it to the next level. Maybe get on something on Netflix or the big screen, or just I'm always looking to advance. So definitely film and getting my music into film or being a part of a video game. I think that's something that I would love to do.
I learned from Full Sail that we cannot be humble enough. So it's somewhat when somebody gave me a line for my movie, and I turned it into a tagline, helping people together. How do you think What would that mean for you in your own music? How would you help others in this 2021 we live in?
Pretty much I hope a lot of people now in anyway. I mean, people that know me, they know I got a good education from a good school. So a lot of people that are breaking into this industry, they'll have questions and they'll come up to me and I help them develop a business plan, or I help them, focus on the things I think they should be focused on, and just try to broaden their perspectives and kind of inform them of how the industry works, not necessarily from an artist's point of view, but from a businessman's point of view. I just try to help in any way I can. People have questions to me, help them develop a business plan just to get them that strategy going, so they have something where that lasts longer than that conversation. If you're able to put a good business plan together, any day, it could be a year, 5 years from now, whenever. Just anytime you got any questions, you can refer back to that plan, and it'll just be the stepping stones that you need to get where you want to be.
I learned on Pac-Man in gaming, and I really don't know how to write a Pac-Man game on the back office stuff. Can you walk me through a process like that on what it takes to write music?
Yeah, honestly, like when I look at it, no song that I write is the process will ever be the same. Sometimes I might go through a certain situation that'll have a deep meaning, and I'll start writing to it before I have an actual instrumental. And then I might go to a producer like, hey, I got this idea for a song, can you make a beat around that? And we'll build the actual music around the words that I wrote. Sometimes I might just be driving down the street and I'll see a billboard, and it might give me an idea or a concept for a song, and I'll start going for there. Other times, I'll walk into a studio where a producer will email me some instrumentals, and I'll hear the instrumental, and then my gears will start turning, and I'll start writing from there. So there's no right or wrong way as far as the process goes, but that's just how I go. Sometimes the music will come first, sometimes the words come first, and I'll try to build the actual music around it.
If you were to pick one person to write about, who would it be and why?
To write about, aside from myself.
Yes.
Um, you talk music wise or like story wise?
Anything you want.
Um, I'd have to say, one of my biggest inspirations is Elon Musk. I highly look up to him, his intelligence and his work ethic, and working 16 hours a day, and just everything that he's done as far as a businessman. That's definitely one of my biggest influences. And I'd like to write a story, or get into a biography about something along those lines.
And why?
Just because of my heavily being influenced and developing my work ethic like that, and I think a lot of people could learn from him. And he does catch a lot of slack and hate from people that don't necessarily know him. And I'm not saying I know him, but to bring his story out and his success story, and to show people actually how he was able to get to where he is now, it could kind of lay a stepping stone, or a pathway for other people to follow along the same route, to accomplish their goals.
Do you perform in venues or mostly just distribute? Or I say just, it's not a little thing, you being an international artist.
Mhm.
Do you perform in venues, or let me correct myself, distribute distribute albums to the world via streams?
Yeah, honestly, both. I try to capitalize on any opportunity I can. As far as performance wise, I haven't performed in quite a while, about a year and a half now. It's been a while since I've actually gone out there and performed. But when I was performing, yeah, I would perform at any type of venues. As far as like, one of my favorite places was the California Brew House. We kind of really turned that place out because they weren't really receptive of hip hop artists when we first started performing there, and we showed them that you could put on these shows and have a great show without the violence and all that. I've performed at festivals, done all that. I like to get my music out there as much as possible. So taking advantage of the way the entertainment industry is now with social media and technology and everything like that, it's really built for up and coming artists and the importance of a major record label is kind of dwindling away because you see a lot of artists nowadays making it more independently through streaming platforms and stuff like that. Like I've reached out and I've worked with producers in Australia. I've worked with an artist in Ireland, and just having these social media platforms really gives you that opportunity to do that. You just gotta take advantage of that.
And being on your level and being in a master's degree program from Full Sail and an alumni and surviving the process from a school with 13 Oscars, we're on the same level. But it's important for our audience to know there's differences between artists. And I find myself, and I know you are too, very ethical in this business. But our industry has taken a lot of heat with entertainment professionals getting suspended and things and concerts getting shut down because of people passing away and entertainment producers shooting people. What would you say makes people like you and I different in this business from some of the traumatic eaten by a whale at SeaWorld experiences that we may encounter in this business specifically? What sets us apart and what makes us more quality and ethical from your perspective?
Some people, they come from a bad place, and um, when they get money that they're not used to having, or when they get fame that they're not used to having, that could kind of follow along with you. So it's important, to separate yourself from that negativity. And, that's one thing that I prioritize myself on. This was mentioned earlier. It's important to remember where you came from and always bring that with you. But at the same time, you got to be able to sense negativity and negative people, and you got to remove them from your circle. Otherwise, they'll draw you in because misery loves company. So anybody that carries that negativity with them, that's all they're gonna try to do. And I call them energy vampires because that's pretty much what they are. They'll suck that energy right out of you, and you just got to notice that and realize that before they're able to do that and bring you down with them. So you definitely got to cut out that negative energy, and that's one thing that I always try to do. If I sense the negative energy around me, I won't partake. It doesn't matter how much money's involved or who's involved. If it's negative energy, I don't want anything to be a part of it. So, you definitely have to do that.
And when I entered this business, people asked me if I would ever do it over and did I know what I was in for. I'm going to ask you the same question. I would probably answer it differently. But would you do it over and did you know what you were in for?
If I had it like I live my life with no regrets, so I wouldn't necessarily change anything. But if I was a kid, knowing that I know now, would I still take that same route? Absolutely, because this is what I love to do. The only things that I would change is, I would tell my younger self, don't focus on the bad things that happen. Don't focus on the neglect and being turned down and stuff like that, because that's just part of the industry. Take it in stride, take it as a knock on the chin, keep your head up and just keep moving, and only focus on the good things, because time moves by fast, and you're gonna look back at 5 years ago, 10 years ago, where has the time gone? And just enjoy that ride, enjoy that journey, because in an industry like this, you're gonna create great memories. You're gonna have some bad ones, but that comes along with anything you do, and you're gonna make great friends. I've made a lot of wonderful friends in this industry that I never would have made friends with if I didn't partake. So just enjoy the journey, and I would absolutely do it again.
And what it was your favorite song that you've ever performed and wrote?
Probably my favorite song would be this song called "Bring New York Back." At the time, New York, we created hip hop, New York City, and New York State as a whole. But New York hip hop was born in New York City. That's the birthplace of hip hop, and then moved over to the West Coast, and Cali had the crown for a while, and then it went down south, and the South had it for a while, and when I came out with this song, it was a lot of Southern artists and a lot of Southern music that was popular. But I came out with this song called "Bring New York Back," and kind of bring that lyricism back, and put New York back at the top of the map with um as far as wearing the crown in the hip hop industry. And anytime I perform that song in Rochester or anywhere in New York, they absolutely loved it.
What went into making I Love New York, and what did that song mean to you?
Um, Bring New York Back. That means that song means everything to me, because I have a high pride in where I come from. Like I was saying, my music is not just what I do; it's who I am. And Rochester and New York in general, it made me who I am. So to be a representative of New York hip hop, it meant a lot to me, and it still does. So every time I perform that song, and when the crowd would dig it and they would feel everything that I was saying with that song, like, it meant a lot.
Great, perfect. And how would one hear that song?
I have I took a lot of my music down when I made the transition from Playboy to Beast to Picasso, but a lot of my music is still up on Spotify, SoundCloud, and all the streaming platforms like that. And I do got a lot of new music coming, and when they come, they will be on every streaming site that you could think of. But a lot of my older music like that could be found on SoundCloud.
SoundCloud, and would one Google your name and a
Yeah.
title?
Just search up Picasso. I am Picasso, and all my music would come up.
Awesome. And are you wanting, what direction are you taking your career now other than working with me as an actor in a full length movie?
Yeah, just looking to handle, the business side of things. Like I said, Full Sail opened up my eyes to being more than just an artist, and I actually have a lot of fun doing that. And now that my kids are getting older, being an artist, it takes you away a lot. You might be on the road or on tour for a long time, and just being a part of, like, handling the business side of things, it allows me to have that freedom, and it allows me to still be a big part of my kids' life and my wife's life, and especially the way everything's being handled now through social media and technology. It really allows me to handle business from anywhere in the country or anywhere in the world, straight from my computer at home. So now I'm definitely looking into getting into the business side, as far as like managing artists or getting their music out there, and just pushing stuff to help artists build their brand and reach out.
And as you know, when my sister died, I had dropped everything. I left a studio with a business partner. I graduated from Full Sail University and made the collaborative decision to abandon the business in a specific location to move closer to family, because I had a value for my family to be closer, because I felt that I needed to be an only living daughter to my parents. And I felt that my sister was no longer with us. It was time that I had to put family first. and some of our business colleagues in the business, without mention obvious names, have had to compromise their career in New York because they had to choose family or career. If you had to choose, and I know this is a tough thing for you, to totally abandon your music career or walk away from your family, what would win? Would it be neither?
Honestly, nobody ever wants to be put in that situation. But if I ever was, I personally, for me, I don't feel, it would be a hard decision for me. I don't want to walk away from music. It is who I am. But at the same time, I personally feel my family is, way more important, and my family will always come before the entertainment industry.
Yes, and some of the best of us who have graduate level degrees have had to have those same choices. And where I'm going with that is we all have hard decisions in life. As I
Right.
was telling always Carrie, I was a travel agent during 9/11 through a trauma. I didn't want to be a travel agent during 9/11. It was the most traumatic thing for me that my clients could actually pass away that day, and I would be responsible unintending to induce them going down in a plane, and I would never wish harm on anyone else. But some of our business colleagues in today's world are being put right now in a predicament of choosing career or family. And for you, you would choose family. I have chosen family, but I've been able to go back to my creative projects in other ways. What advice would you tell someone in that ethical predicament, having to, if they knew they were going to get fired from their job or have to walk away from their career? What advice would you give someone in that predicament?
Well, that's the thing. Anytime you want, to become a star or, to succeed, you're gonna have to make sacrifices. I've made sacrifices. I continue to make sacrifices, but at the end of the day, I know I still have my family. So, I mean, if leaving your family for 6 months to a year, um, is gonna turn out to for the greater good. When that year's over with, when you come back and it's gonna propel your family into a status where they wouldn't be or where they couldn't be without that, then by all means, I feel go ahead. Anytime you want to make advancements in your career, you're gonna have to make sacrifices, but you just have to weigh that out, and you got to weigh the good and the bad, and truly ask yourself, are those sacrifices worth the outcome? And that's not just necessarily within the hip hop industry or entertainment in general. That's with anything. You're going into the military. You might have to spend a year, 2 years away from your family, but at the end of the day, these benefits that you'll have, and the status that you'll have, and be able to propel your family into that next level. Something like that. It'll be well worth the sacrifice. So you just got to weigh it out, the good and the bad, and you got to figure out what's best for you, because what may be best for me may not be best for you, and vice versa. So every situation could be different. No two people are the same. So you just got to weigh them out, and think, contemplate with your family, and you'll talk to them, and let them know what's going on, and then weigh out your decisions, and take the good with the bad.
Awesome, thank you. And I'm very conscious of your time, but I want to get a little bit for the next couple of minutes before we wrap. I want this to be all about you. Can you talk to me about what's up and coming, what you need to see happen, and how we're going to get there?
Yeah, I just recently got back into music, as far as like writing music. um, working on the business plans with IU Karma and pushing that. And but right now, I'm just trying to build my network. I'm trying to get in touch with people that's in the gaming industry and people that's in the filming industry. And that was one of the good things about the location where I'm at here in North Carolina. Filmington, North Carolina, or Wilmington, North Carolina is nicknamed Filmington because a lot of films are shot here, and it's a big place for movies and short films and stuff along that nature. So right now, I'm just working on building my network and trying to get people in my circle that's a part of that industry, so I could work on getting myself into video games and movies. And um, as far as music, I got some projects that new music that I'll be working on. Right now, I haven't got any like albums or anything, but I'm working on singles, and but that's the way that this industry is headed for. So look forward to hearing some singles that I could push and start getting out there.
Perfect. And making singles, how many singles would it take to make an album?
It depends on what you're trying to do. I've seen short albums where you release 5 or 6 songs on an album, and I've seen 20-song albums. So it really takes my Life Behind Bars album that had 15 songs on the track list. But really, it depends on the message that you're trying to convey. Sometimes you can get that message out there in 6 songs. Sometimes it takes 20 songs. So that's really the difference. Sometimes you'll watch a movie that's only, a short film that's only 15 minutes long, and then you could go watch, Avengers Endgame that's 2.5 hours long. So really it all depends. No project is the same, and there is no right or wrong. It's just however long it takes to get your message out there.
It's funny we were talking about Avengers Endgame because Full Sail worked on Avengers Endgame and some of our
Yes.
business colleagues did, and I've talked to Rob Downey Jr.'s lawyer a couple of times. Shout out to Rob and his lawyer Tom. And we are. What would you say? How long would it take from start to finish if someone were to book you now to make music for them? And they would give you money to invest in an album and to perform and shoot music videos, and money were no object, because I know some of the best of us have put it on credit cards before and have kicked off presidential candidates and things. But what would you say if money were no object? How much time would it take you to make an album and go to market?
Honestly, without money being an option, maybe a week. To get a whole entire album out there. It could take a little bit longer, it could take a little bit less. But I mean, if you just sat there and gave me the money where I could buy whatever beat I wanted to and hit studio time ASAP, I wouldn't leave that studio until my project is done. I need to come to eating food or dinner, get it all shipped and delivered to the studio, and I wouldn't leave. And I've had moments like that where you really have a deadline that you have to meet. So there is no leaving that studio until it's done. At the same time, sometimes you might get that story where or that deadline where you have a project where they're like, I need this done and I need it tomorrow. And that's one of the reasons I love telling the story about the Ghostbuster theme song. When they originally dropped the Ghostbuster movie, the director reached out to the artist and the creator who made that song. And he told him, he was like, I need you to write this song. It has to be about, Ghostbusters. And then this is a time where the movie hasn't come out yet. So he's thinking in his head, what the hell is a Ghostbuster? Is like, and by the way, I need it by tomorrow. And then the guy's like, how the hell am I supposed to do this? But, within a matter of 24 hours, he wrote and recorded that song, who are you going to call? Ghostbusters. And, he's still making money off of the residual effects from that. So, and that was just a song that he made overnight. And sometimes it's like that. You might get that call where they're like, I need this song and I need it done in 2 hours. And then, it's crunch time after that. But yeah, typically for me, no money was a problem. Give me a week and I'll come out with an album.
Perfect. And again, we thought ghosts were scary, but they made ghosts not so scary and in that movie. And most of us know that in the entertainment business, it's not, people think this is such a fluffy, we're all rich, we all drive Mercedes around and live in mansions, and we might take breaks every other second. But can you put in perspective that I know my production set would be a 16-hour day? How long would it take you in a day to produce music in a week? How long would you have to work, and what would go into that process? What
Um,
recipes in the mix?
that's the thing. When I go into a studio, I'm one that studio time could get very expensive. As any type of artist, or any time you're investing your money into your own craft, creating things, it can get really expensive when you're talking about you got to buy the beats, and then you got to pay for studio time, and then you got to pay for marketing and pay for your stuff to get copyrighted, and then you got the image and paying for digital artwork and everything. So it gets really expensive. So when it comes to studio time, I don't like to go to the studio until I'm ready. So I'll write a song and I'll practice it and practice it and practice it, and then when I go to the studio, I'm knocking out everything in one take. So it's a lot of time saved and a lot of money saved, really. To invest, but a lot of stuff in this industry, it's smoke and mirrors. You want to appear, like we spoke about before, where they view everybody in the entertainment industry as being perfect and having this luxurious lifestyle. But it's not always like that. And it does take a lot of work, from sun up to sundown in that studio. And sometimes it's, sun up to sun up. You don't leave that studio. You might catch a couple Z's while, you got a couple features with another artist or so. So you'll catch some Z's while he's in the studio recording, and then, wake up and it's right back to it.
Perfect. Anything else you want? This is your time. Do you want to plug any upcoming projects other than the full length movie I'm going to bring in on? Any other projects that you want to talk about? Any artists you want? Give me your 60-second commercial.
Yeah, absolutely. Make sure you guys keep an eye out for not just any new music that I have coming out, but any new music that Karma has coming. Always it'll be under IU Karma, and we'll be working to push these artists. We got a few new artists that we're looking to work with and extend their brand. So yeah, just make sure you look out for IU Karma LLC, and go check out on Spotify now. Karma, oh my God, that's what's out right now. Be on the lookout for NASCAR from Always, and we got a few projects that's coming out, but you can check those out right now. Always, YouTube. Make sure you go to YouTube, check out that video, Picasso featuring Baby C and DNA Titans. Get that rocking, and just keep an eye out for everything that we're working on.
This
Make
is
sure you
so
hit them
amazing
likes and
and
follows and
exciting stuff coming up in 2022. And other than the full length movie that we can talk about offline and negotiate deals that way, I really don't want to buy a new car because I don't like going in as a woman to go buy that car. However, anything else you want to tell me right now before we wrap?
I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. I've had a great time here. This is exciting. I'm happy to get back involved into the entertainment industry, and definitely thank you for the chance and the opportunity for this interview and reaching out. I'm looking forward to working with you again. Bring back them full sale days. So yeah, anytime you want to reach out and start working on some film, let me know. We can start brainstorming and throw some things together. Pull Kenya in, and yeah, we can get stuff rocking.
Yeah, shout out to Kenya Floyd. He is another one of us. And there's
Hmm.
some, what would you say, 40,000 of us moving around in New York? In, oh,
Yeah,
America?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
But
lot.
we have amazing projects going on in the pipeline, and I would just like to say we bring in the best, and you are the best, Jeremy, and I appreciate your time, and I'm super blessed to have this hour and
No,
a
thank you. I
half with
appreciate you.
you. and wanted to know how one would contact you, although you're going to be busy for a while. How would one book you and your time and your music? How would we reach you?
Yeah, you can hit me up on Instagram, Facebook, any social media platform. I am Spitcasso. It's the same on everything as IAM Spitcasso, SPITCASSO. You can email me at Newton88 spelled out at gmail.com. Any bookings, anything like that. But yeah, hit me up on any social media platform. I am Spitcasso.
Perfect, and absolutely. And if someone were to private message me, I would absolutely get your global fans a message to you as well. And I thank
Absolutely.
you so much for your time and appreciate your time. And I will leave you with this. We are helping people together in upstate New York. We learn so much in teamwork and collaboration. Although both Jeremy and I can work independently, we know where we came from in New York. We came from humble
Absolutely.
people. We're helping people and ethical, and I really don't have enough words to express my appreciation with this time with you.
All features volume 4. Hey, we just coming to work.
Picasso,
It's DNA.
Baby C.
Y'all know what I come to do. Hold me down, fuck you mean, I'm from 88. The only thing that held me back was the baby gate. They cooking coke in the kitchen, I'm trying to play the game. You gotta get me through my team, they say I'm Brady safe. I done sunned a lot of y'all, I'm just claiming tax. Now you never see these numbers, we in different brackets. I leave a pain in your chest, feel like your heart is pouring. Then kick back and smoke a Dutch like I'm Arthur Morgan. Birds of a feather die together, don't you fly my way. We keep that metal gear tucked for any solid snake. Lil Nemo in the ocean trying to ride the wave. I should coach for the Dolphins, I got lines for days. Grab the body bag, his body mass will probably sag. If you trip, I'm on the scene like Jason in the hockey match. Payments never autographed, I'd rather catch a heart attack. Masters in the autocraft, I embody rap.
No such thing as fair play when you in the green.
Your people's gonna need some tissue, you come in between.
No tendency, but I'm a titan in this industry.
Strong side,
Left side,
gon' remember me.
no such thing as fair play when you in the green.
Your people's gonna need some tissue, you come in between.
No tendency, but I'm a titan in this industry.
Strong side,
Left side,
gon' remember me. I sat back thinking like who won a war. I'm a product of the ghetto in the corner store. I give a nigga 5 seconds for a off his jaw. Or the sweeper take him out, now we going to 4. Who you gon' run to? You tryna call the law? Glock spit, leave him topless, it's Mardi Gras. I ain't with the key and all the hardy hard. I touch down, then I bust down the Audemars. Y'all gon' make me bring the 80 in. You get a dose, I turn this dome to a stadium. Have you leaking bunch of fluid out your cranium. I'm on point with my blazers like Damien. Now I ask y'all again, who want war? I got the thunder in 2-4s, I'm Paul George. Now that won't be your best look. You niggas got 0 on me, I'm Westbrook.
no such thing as fair play when you in the green.
Your people's gonna need some tissue, you come in between.
No tendency, but I'm a titan in this industry.
Strong side,
Left side,
gon' remember me.
no such thing as fair play when you in the green.
Your people's gonna need some tissue, you come in between.
No tendency, but I'm a titan in this industry.
Strong side,
Left side,
gon' remember me.
me and my niggas got work, so you know that we gon' shoot first. We can't take no losses, tryna take out your whole crew first. Touch me with one of my niggas, he might need a few nurses. Fresh hopping out that foreign, shit longer than a few hearses. I can't get no money, that must be the new curse. Wow, yo bitch back look cheap, book way buy a new purse. Old niggas hate I'm winning, that shit made me worse. Try to take all my niggas, I'ma take some fruit first. No fruit of the loom, movie you doom, I got bananas on me. I kick the heat, I'm on South Beach, they had them cameras on me. Fucking bad hoes who come to my show, I had Miami live. Hopped out the Splendor with my little tender, we hit on Ocean Drive. No such thing as fair play when you in the green.
Your people's gonna need some tissue, you come in between.
No tendency, but I'm a titan in this industry.
Strong side,
left side.
you gon' remember me.
No such thing as fair play when you in the green.
Your people's gonna need some tissue, you come in between.
No tendency, but I'm a titan in this industry.
Strong side,
Left side.
you gon' remember me. Y'all know what it is, It's Picasso, Baby C, DNA.